I got so many death threats. I was sitting there protecting everything. And I believed in North Korea. And when I went home, I couldn't even go home. I couldn't even go home. I had to hide out for 30 days.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the successful summit in Singapore between the U.S. and North Korea, more specifically between Donald Trump, the president of the U.S., obviously, and Kim Jong Un, who was the leader of North Korea. This was a long time coming. I knew it would happen. It had been scheduled for a while. There was a slight hiccup in the negotiation process to get to this point. There was a letter sent to North Korea from the U.S., from Trump, talking about the language that was used against Mike Pence from a leader in North Korea, not Kim Jong Un, but somebody else. It was put on hold, the summit that is, but there was room there to get the ball rolling, to get right back on track. And I knew that it would get back on track. People in the media, who I'll talk about a little bit later, were hating. They said that it was over. Trump can't get it done. He's a petulant child. He doesn't know how to speak. He's not good at negotiation. Aside from having a book out there that's a bestseller about negotiation, he doesn't know what he's doing. And I heard all these things, and of course, I knew that, as usual, they were lying, they would be wrong, and I've been proven right. And I'm not the only one who's been proven right. Let's talk about Dennis Rodman. Now, Dennis Rodman, if you don't know, is one of the best basketball players to ever do it. No, he's not like a Michael Jordan. He won't go out there and get you 50 points a night or anything. He wasn't flashy in the scoring swingman kind of way. What he was a pure effort player. Okay, I put it to you like that. He was the best effort player I've ever seen play the game. Somebody who would put his body on the line every single night, who played with 100% heart and soul. That is a kind of basketball player that Dennis Rodman was. And in my humble opinion, that is the kind of person that he is today. About 5 years ago or so, he finds himself in North Korea. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure why. But at a certain point, him and Kim Jong Un develop a relationship. They talk to each other. Rodman's bringing basketball teams. They develop a friendship. At a certain point, they're having a conversation, Kim and Dennis, and Kim asked Dennis to relay a message to the United States, to the president of the U.S., who at the time was Barack Obama. Obama brushed him off, and I know many of you have seen that infamous interview. I can't really play it here because CNN, but this interview he did with Chris Cuomo yesterday when he was in Singapore, mind you, because I think POTCOIN or somebody had brought him to Singapore to be there with the whole thing that was going on between Trump and Kim. But in this actual interview, he has on a Trump hat, which I love to see. And aside, I love to see more black men, black people with a Trump hat on. Not to be racist, but I think that this Trump hat shows a lot of solidarity. It shows unity. People want to say it's divisive. They say it's a new KKK robe. That is silly talk. Really, when I see that, I think of people that want this country to become better and who appreciate what this president is doing, not only for the person who's wearing it as an individual, but for the entire nation and the entire world. But I digress. He's wearing this Trump hat. He's talking about how Trump had Sir Huckabee Sanders call him and thank him for what he had been doing over the years with North Korea. He was really overwhelmed with emotion just from the acknowledgement, just from the appreciation when Barack Obama, the first black president, gave him nothing. So shout out to Dennis Rodman. You deserve some kind of credit, even if this wasn't necessarily all the way because of you. I think that you got the ball rolling. And I think you got the eye of the general public on North Korea. But again, I'll move on. This summit was fantastic. There were a few things discussed. I'll get into the minutia of that. The main thing that Kim Jong Un wanted was for the exercises in South Korea to stop, because I think he felt like that was a threat against him. If they're right there in the DMZ or somewhere in Seoul, it's not far from North Korea, and they're doing exercises with the military, he feels like, okay, now my country is threatened, so now I got to have nukes in order to deter against that. So in this meeting, Trump said, okay, we're going to stop the joint exercises between the U.S., South Korea. We're going to stop all that. So there's no more imminent threat to Kim and North Korea in that particular point in the actual Korean Peninsula. So the whole point here is to denuclearize the entire Korean Peninsula. So there's no chance of either side obliterating one another. Kim Jong Un doesn't feel threatened. Moon Jae-in doesn't feel threatened. It's just a good relationship. And also, there was some kind of proclamation, a document signed. I'll place a video of that actual signing in the box below so you're able to see it for yourself, between Trump and Kim, obviously. And in that document, aside from the joint exercises being stopped with the military, aside from denuclearization, they're also talking about possible economic relationships with the U.S., maybe less sanctions. I'm not sure about all of the exact wording of it, but whatever I'll find, I'll place in the box for you. Either way it goes, this is an historic moment. This is the first sitting president ever in history to meet with the leader of North Korea. It's never happened before. It's been said before. Maybe it's been tried before, but this is the first time it's happened. This is fantastic. Now, some people said that it couldn't happen because of Trump's language, calling Kim Jong Un a rocket man, and he's on a suicide mission, this, that, and the third. But at a certain point, you got to understand how men are. Men, we talk like that sometimes, and it's not really a big deal. It's just like friends. You may get into a fist fight with somebody, with your friend. After the fight is over, you could shake hands and go about your day. It's not going to be like it's this forever grudge against the individual. You can get past all the tough talk, you can get past all the rhetoric, and you can move on amicably. Matter of fact, I think Trump tweeted that. It was kind of funny. If I could find that tweet, I'll place that on the screen before you, talking about why would Kim call me old, but I never call him short and fat. Hopefully, I'll be able to be his friend one day. Well, I think we are much closer to that whole friendship thing happening. And also, Trump said that he felt kind of like a moron or a fool talking about Rocket Man and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, without that rhetoric, we wouldn't be here right now at the table to get anything accomplished. So all I see Trump doing is trying to grow peace in the world and not so much war. I'm not really a big fan of the whole Syria situation, but I don't see us getting further entrenched into the Syrian conflict. It's a problem that exists. We need to get out of it, but I don't see us getting further into the Middle East, and I don't see us getting into North Korea, trying to invade them or anyone else. Some may not agree, but I disagree with your disagreement. I think that Trump is all about peace, and that is the best thing for the United States and the best thing for the Korean Peninsula. So overall, this is a good thing. North Korea, no more nukes. They're going to destroy the nuclear site. South Korea, no more military exercises that may kind of scare the North. They're talking about maybe getting some trade happening, loosening the sanctions, peace. And just being able to meet for the 45-minute conversation that they had in Singapore was big. Just being able to have that moment where they meet was fantastic. And to put it in the proper context, Kim Jong Un is like 33, 34. He's relatively young to be a leader. I think if this is the United States, he couldn't even be the president because he's too young. So he's a very young leader, comes from a family that controlled the country. He's in a unique situation, which makes him a unique person. So you can't just look on the outside and think of him one way. You got to talk to him and be able to get down to the bottom of it. Now, before I close, let's talk about the media's reaction to this. I mean, some of these liberals are just really off the walls. Some so-called conservatives, too. It was one liberal guy. If I could find a tweet, I'll place it on the screen. Matter of fact, I can't place that on the screen because it's too NSFW. It's not, anything weird like that, but a bunch of F-bombs, F-Trump, F North Korea, all this, that, and the third. Somebody that is supposed to be caring and inclusive and anti-war and pro-peace, why would you be upset at peace talks happening with North Korea? They have the nukes. They're scaring Guam and Hawaii and Japan and South Korea. Why don't we try to talk peace with them so that stops happening? Why would you be against that? And then you got Ben Shapiro. Man, I don't know what's going on with Ben Shapiro. One day he's on our side, the other day I can't really tell. But he was talking about, oh, what if this was Obama? People would be incensed. It's like, no, he met with, who was that? Raul Castro, and nobody really said anything. I think people were more concerned with his limp wrist pose, which I placed on the screen before you. People were concerned about that. They weren't concerned about anything else. I think one thing they were concerned about was the fact that they are still a communist regime, and he was trying to like normalize things with them, not looking at the communist part of it and how they're still kind of hostile towards us. I think we need to talk about doing things in increments. With North Korea, we're talking about trying to denuclearize, getting rid of the threats. We're trying to just talk about peace, not necessarily just having them be treated as another state of the United States. So that may be the difference. But for the most part, nobody cared about him meeting with Raul Castro. Matter of fact, the average person may not even know who that is in that picture. All they remember is the limp wrist pose. But I digress. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Haters are going to hate. Winners are going to win. We are winning on the right. People are coming to our side more and more every day. I'm seeing MAGA hats everywhere from all walks of life, all ages, genders, sexual orientations, or whatever. This is the wave of the future. We're going to continue to press on, and this old way of thinking, this hatefulness, this warmongering, that's going to be a thing of the past, and it will happen much quicker than you think. So what do you think? Do you think the summit in Singapore was worth it? Was it a good one? Do you think that anything productive will come of this? Do you think that Kim Jong Un will renege on his promises? How do you feel about Dennis Rodman in the whole situation? Does he deserve any credit? Does he deserve maybe a Nobel Peace Prize, something from the president? I think that Dennis should come to the White House and get recognized. The phone call from Sarah Huckabee Sanders was way more than Obama ever did. Obama blew him off and said, well, nah, like he wasn't even there. And one thing Rodman said was that Kim Jong Un was always lied to. He was always told things that weren't true. And Rodman was the first guy to come from somewhere else and keep his word, talking about bringing basketball teams and whatnot to the country. He was the first guy. So I think, like I said, you need to just look at the guy, talk to him, and see if you can negotiate. Move past all the stuff that happened before and just do it that way. This is how men operate. We don't just hold grudges from past wrongdoings or from when we were upset or from when the bad word got said. We could sit down at the table, talk business, and hammer out a deal. That's what Trump does. He wrote a book on it, and as far as I could tell, he's been able to execute what he's written in his book very well. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Thank you very much. It's fantastic.